Hello, Taurus. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Taurus is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading for November 2nd through 8th. Try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Taurus, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. Empress energy right off the bat. I feel like you've been giving your blood, sweat, and tears to something for a long time. It's time for you to reap the rewards. It's time for the harvest, Taurus. This is really, really nice. Okay? Let's put this into some context. I think this is the blessing. This is you getting to Big Rock Candy Mountain. This is you in paradise, okay? This is you living your best life. Yeah. 10 of Pentacles, very cool. 6 of Wands. The 8 of Cups back, yeah, that makes sense to me. We have a 3 of Swords. We have the Devil card. We have a Princess of Swords, a Knight of Cups, a Knight of Swords, and a, whoa. Okay, interesting. Knight. Okay, Knight of Pentacles, Swords, and Cups. Now the Knights are always looking into the future, right? So my first impression here is that you're looking into the future and you're kind of thinking like, who do I want to be? Where do I want to be? And what do I want to be doing down the road? Because once you can think of that, like, you know, what's the goal? Then you can reverse engineer it and you understand how to get to the goal. Okay? Why do you pick the goals that you're picking? That's what I want to know. I feel like you're somebody who maybe in the past, you've picked a goal for the wrong reasons. Like you were saying, well, what do I want to be in my life? Well, I'm going to go ahead and get into, get into marketing or office work or business management or something like that. Because it would make a lot of money. That's you looking in the future and thinking, I can make some money, I'll do that. But did that really light you up? Was that really you looking into the future thinking, what do I want to be? What excites me? What's really going to set my soul on fire here? Because that is kind of that's our Knight of Cups, you know. That's us thinking, that's what I want to be. That's what really makes me feel passionate. And then you reverse engineer that, and you said, okay, how do I get to become that person? Okay, so it's kind of like how we're choosing our goals here, which is very interesting. Because I feel like in the past, with the 3 of Swords and the 8 of Cups, you were doing something that just, you didn't really like it. It didn't really resonate with you. But now, the Empress, you're doing something that you want to sacrifice yourself for. I want to give my blood, sweat, and tears to what I'm doing because I love it. I love it. It makes sense. And it's going to pay me. You know? And I think you have that. You have those 3 things. And I think that's so awesome right now. To have the passion for something, you know how to do it, like it's something that you're good at, and it's something that's going to pay you. And when you have those 3 things, and, you know, let's say basically, you're going to be willing to do whatever it takes. You're going to be willing to put in the blood, the sweat, and the tears. And so I feel like that's where you're at. And I feel like you have such a passion for what you're doing. It's going to be, the door's opening. The miracle is here. You've built it, you know. And I think that it's all coming together because you recognized that, doing something for the wrong reasons, maybe it's like you're doing something that, well, it's going to give me a paycheck. Yeah, but how long can you keep doing it before it feels like the hope or the love is draining away from you? Your soul is being squeezed out, like an orange. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it right here with Jimbo, the Lizard King, right there on top. Now, even though we can do anything, we're not going to look at that card, not until the end of the reading. It'll tie everything together. It'll give us the confirmation we need. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comments right below the video, okay? Now, as we look around the room here, we see 1, 2 majors. Just 2, okay? The Empress and the Devil. These 2 are the very just powerful cards. The Empress is saying that if you love something, okay, if it's rewarding you financially, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, you're going to climb the mountain. You're going to keep going. This is your driving force. This is what motivates you. Money motivates you. The learning, it's interesting to you. And also, you have a passion for it and a natural talent for it. Okay? The creative drive, the pleasure drive, and maybe this here is the sovereign drive, or at least the curiosity drive, So these 2 are just awesome. You've got fire. We've got water and water. You've got air and air and air here. Okay? And you've got earth and earth. It's fairly balanced. Okay, fairly balanced. I think the air energy is interesting because it kind of says that, look, you were, I think, in the past, doing something that you didn't really like. Maybe it was making money, but that was it. It was soul-crushing, maybe, right? And maybe I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, or I'm exaggerating, I'm being dramatic. It feels like you were making money, but you were getting squeezed like an orange. And so you kind of rethought that, and you started getting curious about other things. And I feel like you discovered something you were passionate about. You had some kind of skill or natural talent or an inclination toward it, and you feel like, I could learn that. I want to learn. I have a passion. And because I have that passion, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to put in the blood, sweat, and tears. I'm willing to do the hard work. I'm willing to stay up late and do it and learn it and study it. And therefore, it's going to pay me. It's going to reward me in whatever way you're looking for, So the Empress, anyway, you got to care for yourself along the way. This is you making your life beautiful, making your life abundant. This is you cultivating your best life, your best self, and because this is you living your best life. This is you, as the mayor of Big Rock Candy Mountain, living in paradise. And this is whatever you want it to be. Whatever your goals are. What is your idea of the good life? What's the idea of like your best life? Is it you just kind of sipping, virgin pina coladas on the beach? What is your best life? What is paradise to you? It's going to be different for everybody. But this is you making your life that. And how you make your life that is by putting in the blood, sweat, and tears. Putting in the effort, putting in the work. You're making your life beautiful, okay? I think you're a very creative person. I think that, right now in your life, you're very artistic. I feel like, I don't know, that you're like, you're cooking, you're painting, you're writing. Maybe you are cultivating some kind of garden or something like that. You're planting something. Got to make sure that you rest when you need it. Okay, your comfort is going to allow you. Basically, you got to take care of the goat. You got to feed yourself. You got to rest when you need it, because your comfort is going to feed your motivation and your strength. So we have both. We have resting and we have charging up the mountain. And then you got to take camp. You got to light a fire. You got to drink some water and have your your baked beans and whatever. Cook your hamburgers over the fire, and then you got to get going again. So we have rest and we have rushing forward. So you need to be kind to yourself. Okay, I feel like you're getting some very, very good news about work or money or something like that this week. Okay, this week is about the harvest. This week is about the beauty that you're creating in your life, but also the self-care, because you have more work to do. So this is you nurturing and nourishing yourself so that you can continue to climb up the mountain. Okay, it's very, very good energy here. And like I said, the Empress is, it's kind of like, it's almost like the mother, right? Mother Earth type of energy. Providing anything that this thing might need. You're putting in, like I said, the blood, sweat, and tears. Okay? And you're willing to do that because this feels right, because you have a passion for it, because you have an interest in it, because it's something that you're curious about, you want to learn about it, and it's going to reward you. It's giving you something back. Whatever that might be. Maybe a paycheck, maybe just satisfaction. Maybe this is you literally going out to your garden and putting in the blood, sweat, and tears to grow your crops, and what you're going to have is beautiful flowers at the end. It doesn't have to be money, but it's sort of implying that it might be, The Ten of Pentacles, wealth, long-term goal, finally paying off. Because you stopped doing something for the wrong reasons, you started doing it for the right reasons, and here's the big picture payoff. Okay? These are your investments of time, effort, energy, money, and space, right? The blood, sweat, and tears. Now paying off and bringing long-term stability. This is who you are, where you are, and what you're doing in the future you and the future life, right here in the present. Okay? So it's now. This energy is now. Okay? Celebrate what you've built. You have brought stability into your life. You have something solid and something lasting. And I think that you have to continue to plan for future generations, or just kind of plan like, where are you going from here? Now what do you do? What's the next staircase that you have to climb? What's the next, what's the next phase of this mountain climb? Because I feel like the mountain of life doesn't really have a summit. It has peak after peak after peak after peak. And any one of those peaks, we could say, that's it. That's where I'm just going to stay here. Okay, is this going to last you? It's kind of like, in a way, this is your retirement number, It's like, how much do you need before you don't need to do anything else? And so financially speaking, this is what you need: 1 million, 5 million, 10, whatever it is. You need a certain number. And then you can say, now I don't have to do anything. But I feel like once we get to this goal, this feels like a summit, and we enjoy the summit. We look around, we say, dang, I did it. Then you look up and you think, well, there's more mountain. Maybe I want to climb. Maybe I want to keep going, So I feel like there is some kind of planning for the future. It's either for like planning your estate and future generations, or kind of like, as the Knight of Pentacles is, looking into the future and planning whatever's coming next. Because you see with this card, the Knight of Pentacles, there is no summit of the mountain. Can't see the summit here. It's just mountain all the way up. Any point along the way can be, enough is enough, I'm done. I don't feel like you're done. I feel like when you truly love something, you don't want it to end. And so no matter how many tens of pentacles you get, there's more mountain. The 10 really of the tarot is not just 10. It's not saying this is the cap and that's it. It's just because we count base 10. We say 8, 9, 10, and then a whole bunch. Some cultures are base 3. They say 1, 2, 3, and then an infinite number of something. Like I tell my daughter, if you can count to 10, you can count to infinity. And so this is open-ended. This can be as many pentacles as you want, as much money as you want, as much paradise as you want, as much virgin pina colada as you want. But you're going to continue to work for it until you just don't want to anymore, or until something changes, until your heart changes, or whatever. And the path is going to look differently. The thing about the Ten of Pentacles is you need to draw this picture in pencil. I used to always, whenever we'd get this card, I'd always tell you to get out a sheet of paper, get out a pencil, draw a picture of your best life, but do it in pencil. Because as you go, you might say, I don't like that anymore. I want to erase that. I want to add on. Maybe you get some more sheets of paper and you start drawing more stuff as your life gets bigger and your ideas grow, and the things that you feel passionate about, the opportunities that are in your life, the doors that are opening for you. It just feels like you're adding on wings to the house. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's kind of what this card's all about, and especially since usually we have the Knight of Pentacles looking at the 10. But you've got the 10, and then you've got the Knight looking into the future. So what you're doing is looking at another 10 of Pentacles. You're achieving something massive, and you're looking to see, like, okay, where do I go from here? Now what do I want to do? Okay? So this is really awesome. You got to stay humble, though. You got to share the wealth. It's a massive harvest. Your security is satisfying. It's well-deserved. Okay, celebrate what you've built. Start planning start nourishing yourself on what you have. Because I feel like you're gearing up for another kind of adventure, something new anyway. And that Six of Wands under the surface here is Jupiter in Leo. It's kind of like every victory you get, every win you get makes you feel more capable. And so it's really it's a confirmation, because you have your Knight of Cups, Swords, and Discs. So, you have this passion for something, that interest in something, and you want to make it tangibly real and successful, right? Then every time you do that, every time you get that, every time you get a win or a victory, it's a validation or a confirmation that, like, you're really onto something here. And so it makes you just want to kind of do it again. Wow, like, I had a passion, I worked hard, and it brought me a harvest. And that's like, wow, I'm capable of doing something like that. If I follow my heart and my head and my body builds it, right? This is heart, mind, and body working together, blood, sweat, and tears. Okay? This is that harmony we need. When your heart wants it, your head wants it, and your body can do it, you get the victory. And then you say, I want to do it again, right? So there's success here, but there's also like a praise. And it's kind of it's a positive reinforcement. And the universe is telling you, you did a good thing, Taurus. And you're thinking, I did a good thing. I'm going to go do it again. It really is nothing more than psychology, and that positive reinforcement. The universe rewards you so that you'll go do it again. And maybe it's going to be different. Maybe it's going to be a different path or a different mountain even. But the victory is simple. It's these brave moves that you've been making, the blood, sweat, and tears, and now you're just repeating it. Something works, okay, I'm going to do it again the same way. Follow my heart, my head's going to figure it out, my body's going to build it. And the doors are swinging wide open for you, Taurus. They really are. I think that literally you're going to receive some kind of recognition or approval somewhere in your life. This is a celebration. Again, stay humble. Be confident. Don't be prideful, though. Okay? Jupiter in Leo, feeling more and more capable. Share that win with other people. Acknowledge, don't just go up there and say, yeah, this was me, I did it. I did everything all by myself. Maybe you did, but you kind of want to thank the director and the academy and thank, your mom and all this stuff. You want to kind of be gracious, okay? Encourage other people to find their own victories. And it's sort of kind of, you're holding up the trophy and you're saying, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Yeah. So you're acknowledging your humble beginnings. And I think that you're acknowledging how important it is to take a risk on what you really believe, what you really feel, what you're passionate about. Any one of these nights by themselves, could make it. You follow your heart only, Well, that's pretty good, but not if you don't have a plan and you don't have any kind of physical capability, like you're physically can't figure out how to do it, then this is just going to be a hobby. This is just going to be a fantasy. If you have a plan for something, cool, we have plans all day. I make plan all day, all night, I'm thinking of stuff. But if your heart's not in it and you don't have the means to actually do it, then it's going to remain a castle in the air. If you have the means to do it, or you're going to spend the money on it, or it's going to give you a paycheck, well, that's cool. But what if your heart and your mind are really not interested in it? This isn't going to last very long. Eventually, you're going to get here. So I think that what's happened with the Eight of Cups here is that there was a time in your life when you were working, maybe a job or career, or in a relationship, or at school, or something like this, doing something for some kind of reason. It was going to pay me, a paycheck, or my parents wanted me to do it, or just sounded like a good idea. I don't know. Doing something, and then there was a realization that your heart isn't in it. So I feel like you walked away from something because it didn't feel right. Okay? And you said, this is draining me. It's not uplifting me. It's not because it's hard work. This is a soul drain. This is a soul, like I said, I'm over dramatizing, but soul crushing kind of thing. It's like you have that job that it's paying you money, but it's squeezing you like an orange. And so you said, I've got to change something. You moved on. Moving on is power. Pack the wisdom, leave the weight. You're leaving it behind. Okay. And I think that you maybe had a little bit of guilt about that, but you're letting that go. Okay. So the courage really was you kind of leaving behind what was draining you. And I think really what we have here is a cycle. I feel like it's step to step to step. I feel like these cards were over here. And you went away from that, and then these cards were all here. And then look, success, boom, you got it, you did it, because you followed your heart, your mind, your body. And now, you're ready to do that again. So I feel like this is a pattern. This is a good, healthy, successful, marvelous pattern. Finding out what you really want, what you're passionate about, what your soul wants you to go do with your life, and then thinking it through, and then investing yourself in it. Investing your resources, time, effort, energy, money, and space, blood, sweat, and tears. And it's going to pay you. Your body is into it, your heart is into it, your mind is into it. That's a powerful combination. Okay? That's a lethal combo when your body, your heart, and your mind are in it. And so it's not just, well, maybe I'll just go, maybe I'll go be a mechanic or something because that'll pay me a paycheck, right? Yeah, but do you love cars? No, not really. Do you know anything about cars? No, not really. And it's like somebody that says, you know what, I'll make some money, I'll go be a lawyer. Do you like law? No. Do you know about critical thinking and logic? No. Okay, well, you're going to have a really tough go, especially if you're getting into debt, with student loans and going to school for that sort of thing. So anyway, to me, that's the Eight of Cups for you. You realize that this was just not going to work for you. And so I feel like you decided to move on from that. And that was probably the best choice you ever made. Now, the Three of Swords is still here. And this might be that there's still some kind of, I don't know, almost like forgiving ourselves for this, or realizing that this is par for the course. This is something that usually happens. We all get into situations like that where we just say, oh gosh, I don't know why I did that. It wasn't resonating with me, that I was doing something for the wrong reasons. We have a Saturn energy in both of these. Saturn in Pisces, it was stealing your joy. Okay? Saturn in Libra, it was making you feel very disconnected. And I think that it was turning you into a person you didn't want to be. Okay, it was mental, perhaps, stress. I feel like you broke up with something here, you know. But you had to be honest, and I think now you're going to be honest with yourself and with other people, even when honesty sometimes hurts. Okay. And so I kind of like that we have this card up here, because in a way it's a memory. It's a way of saying, I'm never going to forget what it felt like to be doing this, because this is, this is soul crushing. And so even when your current path gets hard, Taurus, gets difficult and feels just exhausting or challenging or even heartbreaking, remember why you're doing this and not the other thing. When your current path starts to feel difficult, remember when you tried to be a lawyer. Oh gosh, I don't want to do that again. I'll do whatever it takes to keep doing what I'm doing now, because I don't want to go back to what I was doing before. Because it was paying me a paycheck, but it was crushing my soul every day. Okay. And I think that's kind of, that's where you're at. And so what you're doing now is such a gift, such a blessing. And you got that devil energy. This is the motivation. This is the driving force. When you consider how much blood, sweat, and tears you're putting into what you're doing now, remember how much you're getting back, how much you're getting out of this. You got to feed the goat and then climb the mountain. Be the goat, right? The GOAT. And I feel like you can't if you don't have your body, your heart, and your mind, your whole soul and spirit are into it. You're not going to be the goat. You're not going to be motivated to be the goat. I had a lot of jobs in my life. Jobs. Things that I say, well, I'll just go apply at that company because they'll give me a paycheck. And I went in and I applied and they gave me a paycheck. But I was never that good at the work. And maybe that's just me. I don't know if maybe I'm weird, but my heart was never really in it. My mind tried to be in it and my body tried to be in it because I needed the money. I had rent to pay. I had to put food on my table, But my heart certainly wasn't in it. And I never climbed up the ladder. And when I was offered promotions and more responsibilities or management positions, I said no. Intellectually, I could do it. I learned the material. I could do the job. And I knew how to do it well. But I just didn't really care. And maybe I shouldn't be saying that here in public. If your heart's not in it, my point is, if your heart's not in it, you're not going to do as above and beyond good, excellent job that you need to if you really want to be the greatest at it. I want to be the best mechanic I can be. You got to want it, You take two people, you send them to mechanic school, you get them a job at a mechanic store, and one person loves cars. I have a passion for cars. I've always wanted to work with cars. I love cars. The other person couldn't care less about a car. I don't even have a car. I just ride a bicycle. I don't even care. Who do you think's going to work harder and better and more devoted? And who do you think's going to eventually be a master mechanic? ASE certified, all the dealership, all the manufacturers, they're certified in all the things. They're owning their own mechanic store, whatever, right? World record, world's best mechanic. Who do you think has a greater potential to be the GOAT? Certainly the person with heart, Certainly the person that wants it. The other person, maybe they're going to be better in a restaurant, or they're going to be better in some kind of accounting or something, I don't know, or teacher or whatever. Maybe that's the lawyer, But anyway, I feel like you've found the thing that makes you hungry for it, that makes you want to climb the mountain. You're driven. You're driven. And I think you're not letting anything hold you back from this, because you know that, if you're really passionate about it, if you got the heart, it kind of starts with the heart, If you got the heart, then you think, am I capable of learning the material? Yeah, of course you are. And am I capable of physically doing it? And is it going to pay me? Well, if you have a passion for it, eventually you're going to get good enough at it where you should be getting paid for it. Let's talk about the path of the serpent. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. And let me know which card on the path of the dove resonates with you the most. Okay. Well, you know what? First, I want to do a spirit animal card for you before we talk about our Princess of Swords. I love these spirit animal cards. Here we go. The groundhog spirit. It's time to let go. Yeah. Time to let go of anything that's holding you back from pursuing your passion, pursuing your heart. And that's kind of, that's another aspect of the devil card too. Release anything that's holding your goat back. Whatever's holding you back from really going after what you're passionate about, let it go. Get your horns untangled from that chain link fence. And give yourself permission to go follow your heart and put in the work. Maybe it's saying that, look, you have a job now, it's paying you a paycheck. Okay, good, keep it. Start working on your passion and build it up to the point where eventually you're going to have to get rid of the job to make room for that career, to make room for that. So let go of anything that's preventing you from following that heart. You're a very curious person. This is a time of learning and asking questions and thinking about stuff, and kind of researching, seeking the truth, using your mind. And maybe this is you thinking, okay, I've gotten to one summit. Now what's the next mountain I want to climb? Where am I going from here? What do I want to really do? Who am I? Why am I here? What am I passionate about? What am I good at? Who do I want to be in the future? Who do I want to be? Where do I want to be? And what do I want to be doing in the future? The knights, right? All of them are looking at the future. How you want the future to feel, how you want it to look, and what's the plan to get there, basically, right? And this is that curious energy where maybe you're asking those questions, and you're getting curious, and you're maybe experimenting, looking things up, you're researching, okay? But you're also being very honest with yourself about what's in your heart and what you really want, what you need to walk away from in order to pursue that passion, and what kind of energy is holding you back from getting started, okay? It doesn't mean you have to quit your job in order to sort of answer this call, but you should begin thinking about it and begin figuring out how you're going to start doing the passion, right? And allow that to eventually take over your, this part of your life anyway, okay? Let's talk about our Knight of Cups. I feel like we've already pretty much talked about all these cards, but the Knight of Cups is looking into the future and thinking, how do I want my future to feel? Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing down the road? And how does that feel? How does that feel for me? What am I inspired to do? Yeah. This could be a good card for romance for some of you, but this is you kind of moving gently and feeling the steps. Okay, feeling how you're moving forward, your imagination, your heart. This is you kind of looking at life as you have a gift inside of you, and you need to give it to the world. And maybe that gift is you got a real passion for music or cars or business or, I don't know, lawyering, doctoring. You got to. That's some gift that you can give the world. You got to know what your gift is, you have to develop it, and then you got to give it away. Share that with the world, This is you're inspired. What inspires you? And once you figure that out, then you start formulating the plan, the step-by-step. You sort of reverse engineer it. Once you know who you want to be, You reverse engineer that and you start working on that to create that. And that's kind of the plan here with the Knight of Swords. Seeing the plan, and sometimes we don't know the plan. Sometimes it kind of feels like, well, I don't know exactly how to get from where I am to that future that I'm feeling and that future that I'm seeing. This is the future that I'm thinking about. It could be there are a lot of roads that lead there. Maybe I don't know which road is going to get me there the quickest. This might be like we've just got to stay sharp and we've got to try to find the simplest route. Okay? We don't want to be impatient, but we want to be focused and we want to be clear. You got to take a bold action. Okay? You've got to be willing to rush forward into battle, rush forward into something that and start the process. Okay? Maybe this is like, well, I got to take some classes. First, I've got, because we've already done a little bit of research. We've looked it up on the web. We've watched some YouTube videos about it. And now we're sort of rushing into whatever step 1 is. I don't know what step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are going to be. But I know what step 1 is. And now I got step 1 going. While we're working on step 1, we're going to be researching step 2. And that's how we're going to continue moving forward as quickly as we can. Okay? And so we're being very courageous. And I think that you're being focused. And I think that this is how you do it. Yeah. The Knight of Pentacles is also getting ready to make that sort of physical investment. Okay, maybe this is something financial. Maybe it's kind of saying like, you've got to spend money to make money, or you're investing in your future. You're ready to put you're ready to put in that hard work. Ready to put in the sweat, So we're moving forward. We're not rushing, but we're being bold, and we're going as fast as we can, but it's not frantic. You're going to stick to the path even when it feels slow, because this is what you're passionate about. Make sure you also focus on your physical health. Physical, mental, and emotional health. That's going to be really like that future. Like, who are you becoming? Your hard work is paying off. Keep persisting. This is a massive harvest. And I feel like this is now you going through this process again with these 3 nights. This is crazy. Because I feel like this is now, we're thinking of the next mountain that we're climbing. You're figuring out what the next project is, or how you level up your career from here, or what's the next thing that you want to do. Maybe you're going to switch careers. Maybe you're switching mountains altogether. Maybe this is just, how do I level up on this current mountain? Okay? And yeah, I think that it's, you've got the right flow. You've got the right process. Yeah. Let's look at the mystery card. I want another Empress, or another 10 of Pentacles. I think a 10 of something would be good, or an Empress. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Let's see. 9 of Wands. 9 of Wands is telling me that, yes, you are almost at the goal. You're almost at the 10. And so when we get to the 10, you got to think, what's going to begin next? Because the 10 is not the end. So the 9 is saying, like, you got like 1 or 2 more steps on this current path. Then what are you going to do? So we're already thinking of the next step. You're already starting to look into the future and think, okay, what's the next mountain? What's the next segment of this climb? What's the next ascent that we have to make? Okay. And this is that strength, that perseverance. And it may be like you got 1 more step, then you get to rest. Okay. You get to camp. You get to rest, nourish yourself, and then the goat's got to climb up the next segment of the mountain. Okay. So something is repeating. I feel like this is like, the 9 is a strength multiplier. So I feel like this is you understanding that, you climb the mountain, then you rest. Then you climb the mountain, then you rest. And you just keep that process going. And you're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. This is, this is why you go to the gym more than once, right? And so I feel that you're sort of already looking ahead at what you're going to do coming up, as soon as you finish what you're doing now. And you got to have that passion. You've got to have the intellectual kind of know-how. You got to know what to learn. You got to know what you don't know so you can go learn it. And then, of course, with the Knight, you've got to put in you got to take the physical steps. You got to actually start doing the thing. This is really wonderful energy. I can't wait to read your comments, to get an idea of what you're up to. But this is excellent energy. It really is going to be a really productive week, a week of a harvest and a figuring out what we're going to do on the next, maybe the next week or next month or, going forward. Yeah. We're going to do an extended reading if you want to stick around. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. We'll clarify money and love. We'll do the yes, no coin. There is a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Taurus on Wednesdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we are all in this together.